Hello, friend. Thank you for joining our class on our discussion on introduction to entrepreneurial skills. And we'll be looking at women entrepreneurship. Women entrepreneurship. Somebody will ask, why are we looking at women entrepreneurship? We will quickly answer that question. But first, who is a woman entrepreneur? Okay. Who is a woman entrepreneur? Who is a woman entrepreneur? Now, these are women. These are women who engage in full-fledged entrepreneurship. Women who are involved in taking risk, associated with pooling resources to produce goods or services that allow them to capitalize on opportunities found in their localities. So they are involved in taking risk, they are involved in entrepreneurship, they take risk, they pool resources, they invest these resources that in a way that helps them explore opportunities within their localities. Research has shown that globally and largely in developing countries, women make up approximately 1/3 of all entrepreneurs. So why then do we study women entrepreneurship? Of course, women are acknowledged as this sex that is underutilized as source of economic growth. In many countries of the world, their potentials are not fully explored, and that is basically because of a lot of discrimination against the women gender. And as a result, it has gone a long way affecting their participation in entrepreneurship. So this is one of the major reasons why we study women entrepreneurship, to find out the challenges that are peculiar to women who are involved in entrepreneurship, to find out how to inspire them, to find out their contributions, to see how to promote it among other women who are not involved in entrepreneurship. Okay, so these are basically why we study women entrepreneurship. All right, now, um, what are those characteristics of women in entrepreneurship? Many of them are quite educated. Many of them are more educated than their male counterparts. And then they have this entrepreneurial window. Many women being involved in entrepreneurship, majority of them, are around between 30 and 40 years. And then that window, once it's missed, it's difficult for women to get involved. This is unlike men who could get involved in entrepreneurship as early as 16. Yes, we have women who get involved early enough in age, but majority of them, revolve around 30 to 40 years. Okay? Now, they are also, they like taking risk. They don't like taking risk generally. So when they take risk, they do a lot of calculation to be sure that they are taking calculated risk. And as a result, you see women who are trying to establish business designing what is called risk management plan. A typical example is what happens in learning how to drive. Hardly will you see young men who go to driving school because they want to learn how to drive. Most people you see learning how to drive, especially in developing countries, are female. They are trying to make sure they take calculated risk. They design their risk management plan. But the guy gets the vehicle, he jumps behind the steering, he starts driving. He could become a nuisance in the society. So, unlike men too, women are more inclined to seeking advice from outsiders that will help them to avoid their failure in businesses. More often than men, women also tend to learn from their previous mistakes and then their successes too. So they like to think back and say, why did this happen? They think a lot. Unlike men who will want to believe that it happened because they didn't do one thing. But the woman will want to study what really led to that mistake so that it wouldn't reoccur again. So these are things that are quite outstanding about women entrepreneurship, the characteristics, the qualities of successful female entrepreneurs. Their qualities are quite clear. Many of them are very courageous. They like taking challenges. They have this thick skin. Successful female business owners, resist the baptism of fire of initial failure. Most guys, once they fail in their venture, they may want to retreat totally. But women have this thing in them, this resilience that makes them to always come back. Little wonder some of them, when they fall in love and then they have it a very terrible experience, and you'll be thinking that that person will never try it again. Next thing you see her jump on for excited to run another fall in love again. So they have this thick skin that helps them to absorb this kind of initial failure. And then perseverance is another key quality of successful women entrepreneurs. They also have this, they are very sensitive, okay? They have this empathy, very sensitive, in around things. Then curiosity is another feature. Passion for what they believe. You see a woman, she believes in something and she wants to pursue it. You see that passion, and it helps them to bring innovative solutions to issues. They are also more organized on a general note than their male counterparts. And of course, a lot of women are quite humble. You see this believing in themselves, confidence, yet quite exercising a level of humility. Confidence and humility joined together are key things. They make up, if you see any successful woman, you see these things showing up. Now, what are those factors that motivate women to go into entrepreneurship? What are those factors? Now, listen to what a successful entrepreneur said. I wanted to be an independent woman, a woman who could pay her bills, a woman who could run her own life, and I became that woman, said a successful entrepreneur. So these are things that spell out factors that motivate women to go into entrepreneurship. Okay, the urge to be independent or responsible for their financial gain, not always showing out to somebody to pay their bills. Okay, the aspiration to work independently, the motivation to pursue their own ideas, and then this assurance that they can succeed, that confidence, this is another motivation. Then social standing, and then the fact that when you are successful, people respect you. When people know that you're able to pay your bills, they respect you, and that motivates a lot of women to get involved in entrepreneurship. Then many of them also are quite educated, and then sometimes from family businesses they learn the skills to run their entrepreneurship. So family occupation also is another major factor motivating women to get involved in entrepreneurship. Okay, what are other factors motivating them? Some of them want to serve as example for others. They want to show other women that it's possible, we can do it. Come and learn from me, see my successes. Then assistance from government agencies. Sometimes you see some, particular government program targeting women to promote women entrepreneurship. Then improve the prospects for their offspring. Many women have become breadwinners, and so they know that if they are well off, they're able to pay their bills, they can send their children to good schools. So they do everything possible to try to succeed. Then independent decision making, assistance from relatives. Relatives could gather and assist, even friends could gather and assist. That's typically what happens. If you drive along the road and you see a woman, her vehicle has broken down, she's stranded, not before long, you see people coming to assist her. But let that same thing happen to a guy on that same road. He will just be there sweating, hoping and waiting for his mechanic to show up. But for the woman, you see people with nice cars, they will come and pass and say, "What is it? How can we help?" So a lot of people try to provide assistance to women who want to succeed. And then the fact that they also, some of them, that joy of growth, that joy of launching new ideas, believing in yourself, and then being able to think imaginatively. These are factors that motivate women to get involved in entrepreneurship. Are there challenges they face? Of course, yes. Women in entrepreneurship face a lot of challenges. We'll just discuss few of them. The typical of them is this disparity, this discrimination in financing between the gender. We know that globally, greater percentage of funds are in the hands of the male counterparts. So they have this limited access to finance, and then some of them do not have mentors and role models, especially among themselves, especially in terms of manufacturing and high tech. It's just recently that you began to see some women who are doing well in this subsector. And then the perception that against women who own business. Some of you who have been watching some some TV program, as this case of a woman in Nigeria who started female mechanic center where they fix cars, and is run by a woman, and she trained all her staff to be female. So it, this kind of discrimination that women can't do it, and so they want to, that discrimination makes them not to fit into certain sectors of the economy. And then sometimes the issue of culture that tries to say that woman should be somewhere in the kitchen. These are factors, and so when you see someone making progress, it looks like she's an outlier. And then culturally, people may not see her as a good example to many other young ladies. And sometimes it's quite challenging to be able to balance pressure of running a family and running your business. So these are challenges that women in business face. The other one is insufficient initial funding, and then time and effort required to run the business. In most cases, it's difficult also for them to find co-founders. They find co-founders among female counterparts, among their colleagues. Family issues could tear that apart. They want to find with a co-founder with another man, then the husband or whoever will want to marry her will become suspicious. So they find it difficult getting to co-found serious businesses with people. Now, there is this adverse effect of failure. Sometimes when they fail, even people around them will laugh at them and like, why did you start in the first place? Don't you know you're going to fail? You want to show us that you can do it. So that adverse effect of failure can stop many of them, or even the fear of failure can stop many of them from being involved. The lack of previous knowledge in business management, or even in the industry, the particular industry the person wants to run. And then there's this pressure from family, and then pressure from finance. These are challenges women in entrepreneurship face. The socio-economic contribution of women in entrepreneurship are quite many. Socio-economic contributions they make, they are quite many. One, this financial autonomy. The fact that this woman is able to pay her bills reduces pressure on the husband if she's married, on the parents, on the relatives. And then there's this feeling of accomplishment. Sometimes, people's feeling could matter so much. So this feeling of accomplishment, oh, I've been able to do this, I'm a success. And then they contribute seriously in increasing GDP, which promotes economic growth. Then women's uniqueness in general has aided them in entrepreneurship. they have this unique feature that are helping them in to champion entrepreneurial ventures. What are those unique features that are helping women in entrepreneurship? We'll look at three of them. Number one is the fact that they like to take calculated risks. They are more, on a on a general note, they are more analytical and and likes to take more calculated risk. And then in terms of managing money, to compare with men, they are more truthful or trustworthy and truthful in managing funds. And so people tend to believe more on that woman who is in entrepreneurship. And then in terms of population, they are more in number. They are more in number. That's what statistics has shown in many countries of the world. So these are the three things that mark them out: risk management, managing money, and then population. Why women entrepreneurs succeed? Why do they succeed? Now, the research has shown that previous experience in the industry, in terms of previous experience in the industry, about 44.1% of female entrepreneurs gain more knowledge from their past failures, past setbacks. And then, whilst about 37.4% of them learn from their past successes. So these are things that help them to succeed. But to be more specific, business network for professionals is a huge plus for them. It helps them to succeed. The management group of business also help them to succeed. High level of education, many of them are quite educated. Then vision or idea, they nurture and grow. The perseverance, able to persevere in the face of failure. Another one is, we have mentioned the fact that many of them are quite educated and they've entered into business. Then ability to adapt risk management strategy. And then there is this diligence, there is this adaptability, trying to fit in. If women are not adaptable, then they wouldn't be fitting into homes. Somebody has grown up somewhere else with different background, and then this woman decides to accept to come and stay with you. That's high level of adaptability, and men should appreciate that everywhere. All right, and respect them for such skill, such sacrifice. Now, way forward, what can be done to help women who are in entrepreneurship to do better? What, especially from the government angle, what could government do to help women entrepreneurs? One is to make sure you give them listening ear, hear what they want to say. Many a times our governments design policies without this participatory approach, allowing them to air their view and make contribution. You just design policy believing it will work for them because it worked somewhere else. So hear what they want to say, hear from their experience. Government should also consider women entrepreneurship when developing any policy. If you are developing policies pertaining small and medium scale enterprises, don't just make it a general thing. Make sure that policy is gender sensitive. Then government should also encourage the growth of network among female entrepreneurs. Many of them work in silos. They work in isolations. But government can organize programs that can pull them together and make them associate with themselves and network among themselves in a way that strengthens them. Then then the government should always assess any small and medium scale related policy on how it is affecting businesses owned and run by women, to be sure it is not gender bias. Another thing is to make sure that you honor those who have done well, appreciate them, recognize women who are doing well in business, honor them, And that will go a long way, helping so many others to see them as inspiration. Then make sure you reduce the risk of women starting business. These are things you identify if you give them listening ear. That's for government. And then basic infrastructure should be made available to support women in entrepreneurship. All right, this is where we're going to stop this discussion. And as usual, I would like you to think around this question to see how far you are able to grab what we shared here. And the questions are quite clear. Describe what makes women entrepreneurship unique. What obstacles do women in entrepreneurship face? What qualities do women in entrepreneurship possess? What are the driving forces behind women entrepreneurship? In what way can government support women entrepreneurship who start their own business? Women who start their own business. And then what characteristics make a woman entrepreneur successful? Identify the socioeconomic benefit that women in business, that women business owners bring to the society. Why is women entrepreneurship being studied? That's the question we started with. Now, a woman entrepreneur, who is she? What are the elements that contribute to successful female entrepreneurs? So these are the questions we need you to think about. As we want to say thank you for joining this discussion, wishing you the very best. Cheers.